My project is entitled Effectiveness of Environmental Education. I found this really good definition of what environmental education is by Urban Harbor and Dawn. It states that environmental education is a learning center provided students to construct their own learning through hands-on, minds-on investigation, involving engaging learning, direct experiences, and challenging themselves to higher order thinking skills. So moving up those like Bloom's and Webb's taxonomy levels, and actually getting in deeper while they're still younger can really help like develop the ideas that they come up with in the construction and where they go with their lives. When students learn through a problem or project-based approach, environmental education, that is what that is, and they tend to gain better understanding of what they learn, retain it longer, and take charge of their own learning. The issue with these things are that there is such a thing as environmental injustice, and that's like the location of where impoverished families like live. They're not normally around green spaces because most of the families have to go to work. And when they go to work, they don't always have cars, so they tend to live in like the urban part of them. But it is becoming a norm of green thinking, and green thinking has caused a shift in the education system, which is great. In younger years, we would see kids out playing outside more frequently and choosing to play outside by themselves. Like their own fruition tells them to go play outside. But because of the technological society that we live in right now, kids aren't choosing to do that as often. And so if we put it into the education system, the hope is that they would actually use the environment more often than they do now. Environmental education must be an interest and available to all diverse populations. So whether that's ADHD students or whether that's impoverished students, both are very, very welcome to use this and very encouraged to be a part of environmental education systems. I came up with the thesis statement: with increasing data trends showing that environmental education nurtures the mind, body, and soul of individuals, this will create a future generation of environmental conscious citizens through educational institutions using the actual framework that learning in nature can be really beneficial to everyone. This should be important to the public because with effective and meaningful environmental knowledge, we can actually make changes for our environment that'll benefit generations to come through benefiting environmentally, because we'd actually have land and trees for them to enjoy and to understand. So when a community, like an education group of people, work together to create changes, it can save the schools money and it can also protect the environment. But it can also save and protect the environment for the public to understand, because through knowledge of children come knowledge of parents, come knowledge of everyone. The activity-based learning often produces economic as well as environmental benefits. By improving knowledge, instilling values, fostering beliefs, and shifting attitudes, education considerably powers to help individuals reconsider environmental harmful lifestyles and behavior. So the physical human actually does the things by learning. Only humans have the capacity to learn a lot. Some animals do too have the capacity to learn, but they don't learn as much as humans. But the actual human body is the brain and all of the organs learning how to do these things. And less time outside impacts the physical and mental health of the human body. So there was this charity in England and Wales that conducted a study and understood after the study that people who spend more times outdoors and live near green spaces benefit because it causes them to have lower blood pressure, heart rate, and lower stress levels. As well as, like, I showed you a Banks quote, and then a study also done in Norwich Medical School stated that people living closer to nature had reduced diastolic blood pressure, lower heart rate, and lower levels of stress. Environmental education relates to the life sciences because it's the approach to education that hopes to bring solutions to the deterioration relationship between man and the environment. So environmental awareness is increasing all around the world, which is also impacting why we have so many green policies and more understanding of, like, green thinking. And this is used for, like, when we're talking about the environment and climate crisis, students can actually be inspired to work in jobs that pertain to these issues. Environmental education programs relate to earth sciences because it's the process of how the educational system makes connections to the environment to enhance the awareness of people on the environmental ground floor. So, schools affect the environment in four fundamental ways. They affect it with food waste, general waste, energy use, and water management. So to actually help the schools reduce their carbon footprint, they adapt green principles. That's where our green ideas come from. So environmental education encourages people to use energy and water more efficiently and recycle household waste. So many people who have been involved in environmental education programs have seen that the children having a direct experience with nature develops them in healthy and appropriate ways for their age range, and also just, like, more healthy ways to cope, and understanding that they can do more than they think that they can. So the variety and richness of the natural settings really contributes to the way that these children learn, because it's also a way of, like, doing these things in healthy and wellness ways, and ways of conservation. So they really aim for awareness, participation, skills, attitudes, and knowledges to create environmental education into what it is today. So they have these guidelines, and it helps develop and teach children to become more responsible and protective members of society. It is through environmental education that the future of environmental advocates and problem solvers are created. Schools can reduce food waste by following the environmental protection agencies, and the jobs that are related to the environmental education programs are volunteering, so they're constantly donating food waste or any of their laptops to, like, soup kitchens, or donate their food waste to oils for industrial use. Farm working, it's because it's reducing access of food waste to help animal feed. The construction crews are huge for environmental education, because those are the people who are going to be installing the motion censored hand dryers, the energy efficient light bulbs, and solar panels. Plumbers also are a great addition to helping education programs with these environmental changes, because they would be the ones putting in low flow toilets and motion sensor hand dryers. As I'm sure you can tell by now, the cooperation between international and national and local organizations can help environmental education programs by promoting environmental issues and coming up with solutions. Environmental educators are tasked with coming up with new knowledge and techniques that address the demands of a constantly evolving society and technological landscape. So they're really competing against those computers for the excitement and the authentic joy that students are getting from their education. Environmental education can and must lead to awareness to action, and action can make a difference. And understanding that there is hope that we all can make a difference in all of these environmental issues. So again, the thesis that I came up with was increasing data trends will show that environmental education nurtures the mind, body, and soul of individuals and creates a future generation of environmental conscious citizens. Through educational institutions, we will enhance environmental education initiatives as a fundamental component of our educational framework. I think this is super critical because people learning that we have these environmental crises will understand that we need something implemented into our society that will help educate everyone on the right ways of taking care of these problems. And this last page is just my page of references.